Hi guys, my name is Jessii Vee with 2 eyes. I have no idea why. And I am known for creating some creepy content on the internet. I have 2 million subscribers on YouTube. I have a bulldog named Winnie. Wait, do people usually do like intro videos on TikTok? I've never done this before. I am 26 years old, so I have no idea if I'm too old for this app. Please tell me. And I think the most significant part of my life is that I was diagnosed with Lyme disease back in 2016. I went to this place called Elora Gorge. This is the actual picture of this place. I got this really weird bite on my shoulder. I had no idea what it was, so I actually made a whole YouTube video about this bite on my shoulder, not knowing it was from Lyme disease. And I wasn't diagnosed by doctors until a year later, so now my life is just full of treatments for this disease. So to distract me from all this stuff, I make creepy videos on the internet, and I wanted to bring some of that spookiness over to this app. So I really hope I'm welcomed here. Please tell me if I'm not, because I will go. But I really want to be here. So yeah, this was my intro video that I did not know if you needed, so yeah, love you guys. Hi, my name is Jessii Vee with 2 eyes, and I am here to tell you about all the creepy and strange things in this world. When you first see these pictures, you probably think, oh, that's a little weird. There's a ton of people standing in the middle of a field. What if I told you that those weren't people, but instead scarecrow-like figures made to resemble people? There are over 1,000 lifeless figures standing in a field on the side of Highway 5 in Finland, and no one knows why. People assume it must be some sort of art installation, but the artist has never explained why they're there. Their clothing is changed twice a year, and they just stand there all day watching the road as people pass by. And anyone who has ever seen these forgotten statues in person say they get this very disturbing feeling around them. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's disturbing or interesting? And you can find more of these stories over on my YouTube channel. These tiny things right here are called frozen Charlotte dolls, and they were used back in the 1850s as children's bath toys, which is so weird to me because they're literally porcelain. They started off as just these innocent little things, but one day they became associated with this poem called Frozen Charlotte. The poem is about this girl who went out on this cold night and froze to death on New Year's Eve. And I'm not too sure how that poem really became associated with these dolls, but then they were called Frozen Charlotte dolls. So they were no longer bath toys and became collectibles. And whenever people received one, they usually got it in a coffin. So in other words, these were like death dolls. So I bought some. And these are authentically from the 1850s. It's crazy. Here's a closer view of them. They're kind of broken and dirty. And look at their cute little bums. I mean, come on. Has the man with the upside-down face appeared in any of your photos? This creature and legend was created by an artist named Trevor Henderson, and it's absolutely terrifying. He appears to be a man with a very large grin that has his head upside down. He is known to be drawn to tragic events because he loves feeding off people's sadness. So throughout history, he's actually been caught in the background of old photographs, but only tragic ones like car accidents, train crashes, stuff like that. Here he is in a photograph of a car accident in 1948. This second photo appears to be a similar case. He's inside the car smiling directly at the photographer. And the third photo, another car accident. So this seems to be his favorite type of incident to be around. Here he is in the background of a New Year's Eve party in 1943. The night that photo was taken, a man passed away, and that's why he was there. And there he is in the background of a disastrous train accident in 1951. So if you've ever taken a photo during a tragic time of your life, maybe go back and look at it, because he might. Here is another abandoned Disney park that you're not allowed to go near. This was called River County Water Park, and it first opened back in 1976. The park was filled with excited families and squealing children speeding down water slides. It was complete with rocks and man-made boulders you can jump off of, and in the first year it opened, it had around 4,700 guests per day. In 1982, a 14-year-old boy from North Dakota drowned in the resort after going down Whoop and Holler water slide. There were no signs saying how deep the water was, which is so dangerous. And lifeguards that worked there came forward and said that dozens of people had to be rescued from that slide each day. And then in 1989, a 13-year-old boy ended up drowning in the park. So since then, the resort has been left to rot, filled with overgrown moss, abandoned rusty water slides covered in vines. No one has stepped foot inside ever since. This is Clyde the Clown, and he used to scare me all throughout my childhood. He was apparently made in the 1980s, and my grandparents kept him in their basement. And my sister and I always just had this very bad vibe from him. We always felt like he was watching us. He would end up in places that we didn't put him last. We would notice that the way he was posed would move. He was just altogether a very strange doll to us. He's supposedly based off what were called hobo clowns from the early 1900s. And actually, one of the first people to ever do this sad clown look was a man named Emmett Kelly. He created a clown figure named Weary Willie. And this was so baffling to people because they had only ever seen happy, bright clowns. So to see a sad, depressed looking one, it was interesting. So about a year ago, my grandparents decided they wanted to get rid of this doll, and they were actually planning on bringing him to the dump, and I intervened. And I basically told them that if they were gonna throw it out anyway, I wanted to keep it. I don't really know what got into me. I was terrified of him as a kid, and now I wanted him. So now he lives with me in my house. I wanted to show you guys this time that I caught an actual ghost on camera at a cemetery. My friend and I went to this place called the Boston Mill Cemetery, and there's so many graves there that are from the 1800s. We were exploring and filming there for about half an hour. I didn't see anything really creepy, so we decided to go home. I ended up uploading all of that footage to my YouTube channel, didn't think anything was wrong. About a month later, I got a DM from somebody that told me there was a ghost in the graveyard standing behind us. Now at first, I didn't believe her really, but I went to the exact timestamp that she told me, and there, standing behind my friend Matt, was this ghost. It almost looks like he's wearing a suit, he has like a white face, and he's just standing there behind the fence. And what's creepy is that there was no one there that day, guys. There was absolutely nobody. And to this day, the image of this guy still haunts me. We went back there one day to find him, but that'll be part 2. This is part 2 to the previous video about how we caught that ghost in the cemetery. A year later, my husband and I decided to go back to see if we could find him. But the second I stepped foot in this cemetery, I felt so sick and really weird. So I immediately told my husband that I wanted to go home and I did not want to be there. It was raining so hard on the way home, it was storming, and the whole way back, I felt like we were being followed. That night when I went to bed, I had the weirdest dream of my life. The dream was that I was lying in my bed, and all around my room there were these spirits walking towards my bed, and they were all standing around the bed just looking at my husband and I. Well, in the morning, I woke up to my husband yelling for me. When I went downstairs, his face was pale, and he told me that when he went to go back to the car, he saw that all the doors of the car were open. All the windows were turned down. Even the sunroof was open. And it made me think that spirits must have followed us home.
Thank you.
No problem.
You're a really nice boy.
Oh, thank you so much. You too.
All right.